Hello, and welcome to Learn English with Podcast Conversations, the show where we help you improve your English by listening to natural and engaging discussions on a variety of topics. I'm your host, Sarah, and today I'm joined by two wonderful guests, David and Dollar. Hi, David. Hi, Dollar. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks so much for having us.
Hello, Sarah. It's a real pleasure to be here. David and Dollar are both experienced English teachers, and they are also deeply passionate environmental activists. They dedicate a lot of their time to raising awareness and encouraging action to protect our planet. Today, we're going to talk about a critical and urgent global issue, deforestation. To put it simply, deforestation is the large-scale clearing of forests, usually by cutting down or burning trees, to make the land available for human use. This practice has severe negative impacts on our environment, on wildlife, and on people everywhere. In our conversation, we'll explore these impacts and perhaps, more importantly, discuss some possible solutions and actions we can all take to help stop or reduce deforestation. Are you both ready to begin?
Yes, I'm ready.
Me too. Great. Let's start with some basic facts and figures. To understand the scale of the problem, can you tell us how much forest is there in the world and how much are we losing every year?
Of course. Well, according to organizations like the World Wildlife Fund, WWF, forests currently cover about 31% of all the land on Earth. In more concrete terms, that's roughly 4 billion hectares. To help everyone visualize, that's an area about the size of Russia and Canada combined. So a significant portion of our planet is still forested.
That sounds like a lot, and it is. But the troubling part is the rate at which we are losing these forests. The WWF estimates that between 1990 and 2016, the world lost about 1.3 million square kilometers of forest. To give a sense of scale, that's an area larger than the entire country of South Africa.
That is a staggering comparison. It is. Breaking it down further, it means we are losing about 18.7 million acres of forest every single year. Another way to picture it is that we're losing forest area equivalent to 27 soccer fields every minute.
Wow, every minute? That is truly shocking and hard to comprehend. So why is this happening? Why are people cutting down so many trees? What are the main drivers behind deforestation?
There are several interconnected causes, but the primary ones are agriculture, logging, mining, and urban development. The biggest driver globally is agriculture. Forests are cleared to create vast fields for crops like soy and palm oil, or to create pasture land for cattle ranching. So products we use every day, like beef, leather, and many processed foods containing palm or soy oil, are often connected to deforestation, especially in vital tropical regions like the Amazon, Southeast Asia, and Central Africa.
That's right. Next is logging, which is the cutting of trees for timber, paper, and fuel. This can be legal or illegal, but even regulated logging often leads to forest degradation, where the overall health, quality, and biodiversity of the forest is severely diminished, even if every tree isn't cut down.
And then there's mining. Extracting minerals, metals, and fossil fuels like oil often requires digging up huge areas of forest land. This doesn't just remove trees, it causes soil erosion, pollutes waterways, and completely destroys habitats.
Finally, urban development is a major factor. As populations grow, we build more roads, houses, and cities, which frequently expand into forested areas. This urbanization also increases the overall demand for resources, which can lead to even more deforestation elsewhere. So it's a cycle fueled by our consumption and growth. You mentioned these are the main causes, but are there other factors that make the problem worse?
Absolutely. Underlying and exacerbating all of this is climate change. Rising temperatures, changing rainfall patterns, and more extreme seasons make forests drier and more susceptible to other threats like.
Of course. Let's continue to expand this important conversation, making the complex impacts of deforestation clear and the path to solutions feel both accessible and urgent.
So, climate change creates a dangerous cycle. It weakens the forests, making them more vulnerable to drought, devastating wildfires, whether natural or human-caused, and outbreaks of pests and diseases. These threats can wipe out vast areas of woodland incredibly quickly. Thank you, David and Dollar, for explaining the causes so clearly. Now let's talk about the consequences. The statistics on forest loss are staggering, but what does deforestation actually do? How does it affect our environment, the wildlife that lives there, and ultimately, us as people?
The impacts are profound and interconnected. One of the most irreversible consequences is the loss of biodiversity. Biodiversity is the incredible variety of all life on Earth: plants, animals, fungi, even microorganisms. Forests, especially tropical rainforests, are the most biodiverse places on the planet, home to more than half of all land-based species. Countless insects, birds, mammals, and plants are endemic, meaning they exist nowhere else in the world. When a forest is cleared, these species don't just lose their home, they lose their entire universe, their food sources, their shelter, their breeding grounds. Some might adapt or flee, but many cannot. This leads directly to species becoming endangered and ultimately to extinction. We're losing unique forms of life before we even discover them.
And that loss is a tragedy in itself, but it also destabilizes the entire ecosystem. Another colossal impact is on our climate. Trees are vital carbon sinks. They absorb carbon dioxide, CO2, from the atmosphere as they grow and store it. When trees are cut down and burned, or even when they decompose, all that stored carbon is released back into the air as CO2, which is a major greenhouse gas. To put a number on it, the World Wildlife Fund states that deforestation is responsible for roughly 15% of all global greenhouse gas emissions. That's more than the combined emissions from every car, truck, plane, and train on the entire planet.
That's an incredible and sobering comparison. It means protecting forests isn't just about saving trees or animals. It's a central part of the fight against climate change. Are there other critical impacts? Absolutely. Deforestation severely disrupts the water cycle. Trees act like giant water pumps. They draw water from the soil and release it into the atmosphere through their leaves, a process called transpiration, which helps form clouds and encourages rainfall. They also act like sponges, absorbing rainfall and releasing it slowly. When trees are gone, this natural system breaks down. The land becomes drier, rainfall patterns can change or fail, and the soil, once held together by a network of roots, washes away easily. This leads to a cascade of problems: more severe droughts, worse flooding when rain does come, landslides, and eventually the creation of deserts where fertile land once stood, a process called desertification.
So, from the air we breathe and the climate we live in, to the water we drink and the soil that grows our food, deforestation touches everything. It sounds like a problem that truly affects every single person on Earth, even if they live far from a forest. Given how serious and complex this is, it's easy to feel overwhelmed, but we have to focus on solutions. What can be done? What are some of the actions we can take from the global level down to our daily lives to stop or reduce deforestation?
You're right. It requires action at every level. Governments, businesses, local communities, and individuals all have a crucial role to play. The solutions are interconnected, just like the forest ecosystem itself. A foundational solution is the protection and restoration of existing forests. This isn't passive. It means governments creating and, most importantly, enforcing strong laws to protect critical forest areas from illegal logging and land clearing. It also means actively restoring damaged forests by replanting native trees and helping degraded land recover. This dual approach of shield and heal is essential.
Let's continue this vital conversation by exploring the solutions in depth, translating policy ideas into tangible actions we can all understand and support. So, protecting and restoring forests is the first crucial step. Can you break down what that really involves?
Absolutely. Protection means more than just writing laws. It means active, on-the-ground enforcement to guard forests from illegal loggers, unauthorized mining, and land encroachment. It's like having a dedicated security system and patrols for our most precious natural libraries. Restoration is the healing process. This includes reforestation, replanting trees in areas that were recently cleared, helping the land recover its original function. Afforestation, planting trees in places that haven't been forested in a very long time or ever to create new green lungs for the planet. Agroforestry. This is a brilliant, practical approach. Instead of clearing land for crops or livestock, farmers integrate trees with them. Picture a coffee farm shaded by fruit trees or chickens roaming among nut trees. This creates a more resilient, diverse, and productive system that benefits the soil, the farmer, and the ecosystem.
And that leads perfectly into the second major solution, promoting sustainable forest management. In simple terms, this is about using forests without using them up. It's a balance. We can harvest wood and other resources, but we must do it in a way that doesn't destroy the forest's health or biodiversity for future generations. This involves using wood efficiently, building to last, recycling paper, and repurposing old furniture. And it relies on systems of certification and traceability. Look for labels like those from the Forest Stewardship Council, FSC. They act like a birth certificate for wood and paper, allowing us to choose products that come from responsibly managed forests, not from illegal or destructive logging.
That's a powerful tool for consumers. Speaking of consumers, you mentioned reducing demand. How can our everyday choices make a difference? This is where individual action becomes powerful. Many everyday products are linked to deforestation. Reducing our consumption of forest risk commodities is key. The big ones are palm oil in countless snacks and cosmetics, soy, often fed to livestock, and beef. We don't necessarily have to eliminate them completely, but we can make conscious choices. Look for certifications. Similar to wood, look for the RSPO label or commitments to deforestation-free soy and beef. Embrace less and better. Consider eating less meat overall, but choosing higher quality meat from local regenerative farmers who use less land. Support local and organic. Buying from local farmers markets often means supporting agricultural practices that are less likely to contribute to large-scale forest clearance far away.
And finally, none of this happens without awareness and education. We all need to learn and share the story of forests, why they matter, what threatens them, and how we can help. Knowledge is the first step to action. We can support amazing organizations on the front lines like WWF, Rainforest Alliance, or local conservation groups. We can get involved in our communities, join a tree planting day, sign petitions for stronger forest policies, or write to our political representatives to let them know we care about this issue. Share the conversation. Just talking about what we've learned today with friends or family spreads awareness.
So, in summary, the solutions span from high-level policy and corporate responsibility right down to the labels we read in the supermarket and the conversations we have at home.
Exactly. We all have a role and a responsibility. Our survival and well-being are intertwined with the health of forests. They provide the air we breathe, regulate the climate, and house most of life on land.
I completely agree. Forests are more than just resources. They are a source of immense beauty, inspiration, and wonder. They deserve our respect and active protection, not to be taken for granted. Well said, David and Dollar. Thank you both so much for sharing your profound knowledge and passion with us today. And thank you for listening to this episode of Learn English with Podcast Conversations. I hope this discussion was not only useful for your English skills, but also gave you new insights into one of the most important issues of our time. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback, please feel free to contact us at learnenglishwithpodcastconversations@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.